Hi, everybody. Frank's back again. Welcome to the latest and last video in this current series, which is Growing Older, Navigating Middle Age and Growing Older. This is the final entry in this current series. I actually have some pretty good ideas for my next series that it's going to be a little more uplifting than some of this kind of depressing stuff we've had to tackle. But hopefully, this will be of use to some of you. The latest and last segment is about something that not a lot of us like to discuss, and it's a difficult topic. We're talking about grief. Uh, as we get older, one of the things that we have to navigate is dealing with death and loss, which comes increasingly as we age, unfortunately. We begin to lose people, whether they be our parents or friends or siblings or, people sometimes die early. Sometimes the older people in our lives begin to pass, and it's tragic, but it's something we all have to contend with. And full disclosure, this is an issue that's pretty close to me right now. I've been dealing with, as many of you know, some grief issues related to the loss of my best friend Buddy, which is going on almost a year and a half now, back last April. So, grief. I know we've all heard about the 5 stages of grief. I won't bore everybody with those. That's pretty common knowledge found around counseling and around the internet. But let's talk about why we have such trouble overcoming this. Um, when we're younger, I think a lot of us spend a lot of our young lives in a period of stasis or stability. Things remain relatively the same with regard to the people around us. Now, friends may come and go, and people may move away, and sometimes there is an untimely death when we're younger, but most of the time we're not dealing with grief going from constant death, like this relative dies, then that one dies, and so forth and so on. But when we get to be, in your 40s and 50s, it becomes more prevalent. It becomes a lot more prevalent, and it's something we have to learn how to deal with. Um, when we reach this age, frankly, we begin to lose people, and sometimes rather quickly. I myself lost my father, my father-in-law, and my best friend within the span of about a year and a half. And I'm not even 52 at this point. So I mean, that's a lot of loss of people close to me. Now, why is this so difficult? Well, the big issue for a lot of us is the concept of the finality. Okay, it's hard to wrap our minds around the fact that we're never going to see or speak to this person again. Some of these people have been mainstays in our lives, sometimes since birth, in the case of a parent or a sibling. So, how do we come to acceptance at the fact that, this person is no longer going to be a part of my life? Without bringing in ethereals such as like the afterlife, and because we all have differing belief systems in that regard, let's focus on what we can do in this world as far as dealing with that finality. Even though I'm struggling with this, I actually learned about a little better how to deal with this from kind of an unorthodox source, which is my own counseling. I actually taught myself a lesson. Go figure on that one. That rarely happens. Um, I've counseled a lot of different people throughout the years, dealing with a lot of different problems. Currently, I'm dealing with people with drug and alcohol problems, but in the past, I've counseled people with PTSD, um, depression issues, and upwards to like serious mental health issues such as schizophrenia and the like. But throughout all this, I've run into a lot of people who deal with kind of grief issues related to the ends of relationships. Okay, like a marriage breaking up or a long term relationship ending, and so forth and so on. So, through this, I found a piece of advice I often give people as very relevant here to our grief issues. One of the things I've told people throughout the years is if someone leaves you and the relationship is over, and you're fairly certain the relationship is going to be over, whether it be a divorce or just a breakup, you're going to miss that person, especially if you weren't the one who broke off the relationship. If you didn't, this wasn't a mutual decision. So, how do people go on when a relationship ends? Now, assuming again, this isn't like a Hollywood story where you all get back together at the end or the marriage heals itself or whatever. One of the things I've shared with people over the years is that I tell them when you wake up tomorrow morning, that person's gone, correct? They don't like hearing that because it's obviously stating out. And they most of the time say yes. So if you have a great day tomorrow and go about your life and try to have the best life you can, or you sit and wallow in just sadness, is that going to change the fact as to whether or not that person is going to come back? And usually the answer is no. The fact of the matter is, if you go through your entire day tomorrow laughing and skipping down the street, it doesn't make that person any more likely to or less likely to come back than if you sat in a corner in a fetal position. And this isn't something people like to hear, but it can really help. The fact of the matter is, there's nothing you can do to change the fact that that person's gone. You can either make the choice to have a good day tomorrow or a bad day tomorrow, or next week, or next month, or whatever. So here's the realization we all have to come to. I'll take my friend Buddy for an example. I miss him greatly. I'm never going to speak to him again. We will never share anything new together again. When I wake up tomorrow morning, if I have a lousy day because I'm missing him, or if I have a great day, he's still not going to return to me. He's still not going to magically be resurrected here on this earth. So why would I choose to waste my life knowing it doesn't make a difference anyway? And I thought, well, why do people do this usually? Why do they just spend days and months and weeks and sometimes years in grief? Knowing it doesn't really change what is. And I think a lot of it comes from our Hollywood depiction of what grief should look like. We're kind of warped by the fact that I guess we sometimes feel, I think a lot of it is subconsciously, that if we suffer long enough and hard enough and pay whatever the price may be in our minds, that somehow, some way, that person's going to come back. Now, I don't think this is an overt thought. It's not something we're conscious of. But I think we truly believe that, like, if we pay this penance, eventually, somehow it's going to lead to something that's going to alleviate our grief. Now, I don't know this to be true. A lot of it's subconscious. This is just guesswork at best, which is what most of psychology is. But if you look at, like, the way traditions have worked, it all kind of fits. Think about in olden times, it's not so much so current anymore. When a person in your family died, there was a scheduled period of mourning that people were supposed to go through. Like if a husband died, a widow was supposed to wear black for a certain amount of time to adequately mourn her husband. Okay, why? What was the end result? What was the hoped result of that? And we may not even know this. We may not even know that it's going on. But the fact of the matter is, mourning itself has no real purpose. You can celebrate a person's life by enjoying your own. You don't have to sit in sadness. So that archaic version of this prescribed period of mourning is, to me, kind of ridiculous. You don't disrespect a person's memory by enjoying your own life. As a matter of fact, that's probably what they want you to do. In closing, I'll just say this. We will always love and cherish these people that have left us. But we can only move forward when we can just finally accept the fact that they're gone. And no matter what we do, we're not going to change that. So we might as well have the best and most productive lives we possibly can. Hopefully that helps somebody today. Just saying it helps me. So again, that's the end of my series on getting older, growing older, navigating middle age. Hopefully this was of some help to some of you. I appreciate y'all watching. I'll be back with a new series next week that's, I'll say it contains a little more pleasant material to talk about. So thanks again, and catch you guys later. Peace.